2018 Honda Civic. So it's been running for several minutes, so you could see minute 1 right here, and if it will focus, come on Apple, focus. Minute 2, 4, we're heading into minute 5, and we are at 48 degrees. And that's all this will do because there's no load. There's no sun load. It's only like 61 degrees outside, so there's no reason to get colder. You'll notice some air conditioning units, even when it's cold outside, will be like 38 degrees, 41 degrees out the dash. But because the computer doesn't call for it, there's no need for it because you don't want to make the occupant too cold. So the computer sends a signal out to the compressor at the adjustable compressor control valve, which we cannot see on this one, and pulls back the displacement of the compressor because that much cooling is not needed on a cold day with no sun load. We go over into the pressures. Let's go down here. 73 psi on the high side. That's all what's needed. There is nothing needed anymore. 34 on the low side. This is YF refrigerant, 425 grams. And you see actually on this one, the superheat, 3.9 degrees superheat. Subcooling, 25 degrees subcooling. We trend out our temperature and our pressures over time. You see there's absolutely a smooth transition here. There's no oscillations. There's no spiking off and on. There's no cutouts. Because this is a variable displacement compressor, you don't get that off on. You can see we're 34.5 psi there, and we're 34.3 psi there. So there's only, in 5 minutes, there's only 1/10 of a psi that it has moved on the low side pressure. On the high side, you're 72.7 psi, 72.6 psi. 5 minutes, only 1/10 of a psi of movement on the high side. So this is how this variable displacement compressor works under these ambient conditions, which we're at 61 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now, and that's how this is normally operating. For leaks, like on this one, just the condenser was replaced, and it's a fairly new car, so we're going after the O-rings looking for any leaks because they disconnected and reconnected and put on a new condenser. So you're always going to use a good leak detector, which is the Infracon Detect Stratus. This is one of my favorite. The other is the H10. So they're both very good leak detectors. If you could pick up one of these used, or if you could pick up a good H10, an old one, buy a new sensor and calibrate it. Possibly you'll have to buy a new battery for $20. You'll have yourself a good leak detector for a low price if you could buy a used one on the used market for like 125 bucks, because they're a $600 plus. I'm talking about the H10. That's a $600 plus leak detector, and if you could get one used and just buy a battery and a sensor and recalibrate it, you're good to go. These are all available at True Tech Tools, except for the UV Beast UV light, which I broke my lens, but that's the UV Beast. And this is the 400 nanometer light wavelength. Your pressure transducers, all wireless, and your temperature sensors. All right, guys, I will see you later. That's it on this Honda. And as you see, there's absolutely no change in anything, whether it's pressures or temperature. It looks like a flatline heartbeat of a dead person, but we're actually coming out 49. Were we 49 degrees? 48 degrees coming out of the dash. All right, I'll see you later. And like I always say, this is one of the best things to save your O-rings on the inside of your couplings. And if you do develop any leaks up the shaft, through this little shaft right here, and I've made videos about that, it will literally, over time, you could develop leaks coming up through the shaft, and it'll leak through the threads. And if you do experience that, you put a little bit of this nylon, and when you back this out, you hold this up, and you put a little nylon around the threads, going all the way around here, and a little nylog right where that O-ring is, right where that shaft is, and that will stop your leak while you're performing a vacuum, so you have no more vacuum leaks through your thing until you could get another one mailed to you or you pick one up. Everybody's buying everything on Amazon nowadays, so pretty fast deliveries when you need it. But available at TruTech Tools, don't forget them. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I have a discount code, LECH AIR, L-E-C-H, AIR, and all capital letters, all one word, and I'm seeing if I have it spelt anywhere for you. Ah, there you go. Right like that. If you put that in the discount code of TruTech Tools, you get 8% off of everything, and one of the best leak detectors around. See you guys later.